Great pleasure to have Terri Irwin and Bindi Irwin right here with me at Australia Zoo on the Sunshine Coast. Of course, they're very well known around the world for working for wildlife, and Australia Zoo's been going for 50 years now, Terri. I can't believe it. And it's a decade and a half almost since we lost Steve Irwin, but the zoo goes on and on.
It's really exciting to be celebrating our 50th anniversary, and a point of pride that what Steve loved so much is continuing and actually growing. And I had that kind of sense of competitiveness with Steve during our 14 years of marriage, and it's continued in that I just want to kind of show him we can carry on and do things bigger and better than ever.
Well, we're here on Queensland's Sunshine Coast, and it's the first time, Bindi, that I've been here in almost 20 years. Last time I came here, you were a little baby, and now here you are, a real woman, and of course, grown up and doing lots of cool stuff on TV and all that. So what about the growth of Australia Zoo and your role in it?
Australia Zoo continues to go from strength to strength, and it is extraordinary to think that this is our 50th year. Crikey, we've had some great adventures along the way. It's been really fun for us as a family to reflect on where we've come from. Dad really built Australia Zoo with Mum, and the director of Australia Zoo was Mannion, Dad's best mate, of course. Yes. And together they created, everything from the Crocoseum, which seats 5,000 people for wildlife demonstrations like no other, and they really wanted this to become a destination for conservation. And today we are really proud to continue with his extraordinary conservation work. Both here at Australia Zoo and around the world, we are opening up a brand new environmental park. We're looking at opening up a beautiful camping ground next. We just had the arrival of some gorgeous elephants, which we're really proud of, helping with conservation projects and breeding programs for endangered species. And it's wonderful to see how much is happening here at Australia Zoo, but our mission is to make Dad proud. So with everything that we do, we want to make sure that we support conservation work on a global scale and continue his dream, because gosh, he had some big dreams, and it's really special for us as a family to get to continue on in his footsteps.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Of course, Terri, you were born in the US in Oregon, and you're an Australian citizen now, and no doubt, the Australia Zoo kicked into overdrive after the recent devastating bushfires. Can you just tell us about how Australia Zoo helped with that, and of course your wildlife hospital where we are now?
Yes, well, our wildlife hospital has been operating since 2004, and in that period of time we've treated over 90,000 animals. So when the bushfires hit, it was the most catastrophic bushfire season ever experienced in human history. It's just unbelievable what happened. And we have been able to treat animals here at our hospital, also to get care packages and emergency equipment to the places that they needed them in other states. And we are now and will continue to have teams on Kangaroo Island in South Australia to provide ongoing care, because the recovery process is going to be very long. But the way everyone in Australia and around the world stepped up to help is so honorable. Without the donations that we've gotten, we couldn't have looked at improving things the way we did. We've gotten things like laser wound therapy treatment, a new autoclave, more facilities to hold animals. We're getting different oxygenation type equipment in order to help treat specifically burns, so that not only are we able to help animals now, but should an event like this happen in the future, we'll be more prepared.
With Terri and Bindi Irwin here at Australia Zoo, talking about what they've created over the last half a century within the family. And Bindi, what was your reaction to the bushfires? It must have been very upsetting for you, being such a lover of wildlife and so involved here.
Oh, it was truly devastating for our family. Our hearts broke, and we felt so bad for so many people who lost everything in these fires. And for us personally, as conservationists, it was heartbreaking to know that over a billion animals were lost in these fires. And it's something where when you feel like all hope is lost, that's when you have to band together with like-minded people. So as a country in Australia, we are incredibly lucky where we all work together and there's that feeling of mateship. And so I think in times of crisis like this, it's important to remember that we need to stick together and help each other to rebuild, help our native wildlife and wild places, and work towards a better future. It's devastating for me as a young person as well to know that situations like this are only going to happen more often if we don't start acting quickly to help our planet. With everything going on with climate change and our ever-expanding population, it's a real conversation point that we need to start having. We need to start talking about these big issues and what we're going to do for the future generations to come.
Well, Terri, recently you held the International Women's Day lunch here at Australia Zoo, and I was very moved by, the way you spoke, the whole family spoke, and you spoke about being strong and the strength that we need, when we have bushfires and other crises. But you showed amazing strength as a mother, after Steve Irwin left us back in 2006. Can you just talk about that strength?
Well, I think I've been very blessed to have had 14 years with Steve, and the fact that he was a force of nature was something I lived with every single day. And we don't have a word in the English language for the opposite of a procrastinator, but that was Steve. He had to do everything right now. He had a sense of urgency, and he had qualities that I don't have. He was physically quite strong as well. And sometimes I wished I were more like him. And when he would lift heavy things and be so able to get things done quickly, I'd say, sometimes just like for a day, I'd like to be as strong as you, and how fun that would be to pick anything up and do anything. And he said to me, well, there's different kinds of strengths. And I did reflect back on that after he passed, that it was my turn to step up and be strong, but in a different capacity. And I think all of us have different strengths, and that International Women's Day is a real time in our year where we can sit down and support women, but also support each other in general. And if my neighbor or friend is stronger than I am, it's okay to lean on them. And so when we lost Steve, I did have a whole group of people at Australia Zoo, friends and family here, who were very helpful in our time of need as a family. And I'm very blessed with Bindi and Robert because they're wonderful kids. They were nothing but supportive to me. They're just beautiful, brilliant people who have grown up to be responsible and loving, kind individuals, and I couldn't have wished for more.
And I love the way that, the entertainment continues with Crikey, It's the Irwins on Animal Planet. The whole family's involved. Tell us about that, Bindi, because a lot of people are enjoying it. I think it's season 3, is that right?
We are hoping so. We have our fingers crossed for season 3. We're so excited because Animal Planet, they've been part of our family for so many years. I was quite literally filmed being born on Animal Planet, which was really exciting.
What do you think when you see that now?
Oh, it is fantastic. I'm not sure how Mum feels about it, but she was very brave.
Good times.
Well done, Mum. Well done. It's really fun to be able to share our story and journey as a family, because our lives are pretty wild, to say lightly. We are always busy with our conservation work, both here at Australia Zoo and around the world, whether it's wrangling crocodiles or working with tigers, and it's really special. So to take people on the adventure of a lifetime with us is brilliant, but then also to encourage others to believe in their strength to change the world and to stand up for what they believe in. We can all use a little bit of inspiration in life and some happiness. So when you turn on the television, hopefully you accidentally learn something while you're having a really fun adventure.
Well, my daughter's 10 years old, Terri, as I told you, and I really would like her to be like Bindi and, be a role model. I mean, what can you say as a parent? People listening out there, how do you raise your kids through, tough times and ups and downs of life? How do you make them good people?
Well, I think that I'm really lucky because I think they just hatched out really good. They've always been very easy, and I love them very much. But I think that the secret is that unconditional love, that you're there for them no matter what, because as parents, we are our own worst critics. And I can look back on all the times I thought, I wish I was more patient or did this differently. But if you love your kids and you can make time for them, they will appreciate that more than anything. And as a family, we're so blessed because we live together and work together. Bindi and Robert both did distance education, which is a type of homeschooling. So we really have been together all the time. And if you've got a busy schedule and you've only got a weekend a month to spend with your kids, spend it 100% with your kids, not also on your phone or with any distractions. And I think that's the best, is no matter how many mistakes I've made, Bindi and Robert are eternally forgiving just because I showed up, you know? I was there.
We really love you. We really, really love you. Mum's my best friend. I got pretty lucky.
Indeed you did, with Bindi and Terri Irwin here at Australia Zoo. So what's coming up? You know, it's you're an institution here on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. What should attract people here, you know, if they're listening, you know, from around the world?
Well, I think we're really lucky here at Australia Zoo because it's a beautiful place in the world. And we had some fire experiences many months ago, and we've been very fortunate that the rain is healing everything. So while we still have to be mindful of caring for our environment, we still have beautiful green areas. We're open for business. We're really lucky. And I think in the future, what we're experiencing is people loving connecting with wildlife. And I was speaking to someone recently who said they work with a lot of mental health issues, and they said the gardens and the wildlife experiences here are so healing, and they really are. You find people with pets have lower blood pressure. Studies have been done that if you look at a photograph of a tree, it will lower your blood pressure. So being out in nature, being hands-on with wildlife, so if you want to hug a koala or sit under a tree with a kangaroo, we are the most hands-on zoological facility on the planet. And it's a point of pride because our animals are happy too. And that's the most important thing. They get to meet people and have different experiences. But I encourage people from around Australia and around the world to take that time. Take the time with your family and just do something that's not distracting, but is going to be a real connecting moment in your lives, to come somewhere like Australia Zoo and have memory-making moments that are life-changing.
Well, that's the perspective of my fellow baby boomer. Last word for the millennial next to me about the Australia Zoo and what's coming up.
Oh my goodness, we have so much on the horizon. Things just keep getting bigger and better for everything that we do at Australia Zoo. Focused on conservation, continuing all of Dad's great work, but celebrating 50 years with a million different things happening here at the zoo. So we're opening brand new exhibits, welcoming brand new animals, beginning extraordinary breeding programs for animals in need, and really hoping to educate and inspire everybody who comes to visit. Because it's true, like Mum was saying, when you get to experience an animal by hugging it or smelling it or, you know, really spending that personal time, it gets into your heart and you want to protect it for the generations to come. And that's what Dad was so good at. Dad brought you along on his adventures, and he'd say, come with me, let me share with you how much I love this snake or crocodile or koala, and you really had a greater appreciation for that animal. So here at Australia Zoo, it's all about family and fun, and oh my goodness, just watch this space, 50 years, it's going to be epic.
Can I clarify one little thing when Bindi says you should smell our animals?
Yes.
The binturongs, the Palawan bear cats, actually smell like popcorn.
Yes.
So when you meet them, you do want to smell them. In case you think that's weird, it's legitimate.
But also our koalas smell like eucalyptus, so it's like a little eucalyptus cough drop, which is really special. The bats, they smell like this really sweet vanilla smell. I mean, I'll just keep talking about smelling animals now. They all smell really nice.
Well, what a pleasure it's been talking to Bindi and Terri Irwin. I'm a bit starstruck. I've watched them on TV for so long. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy. I know you got filming and everything else. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We love talking to you, and crikey, we think that you're awesome.
Thank you very much, Jason. It was really good.